Hello, folks.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Comic Shop Talk Live, brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Rock and Milpitas, your one-stop shop for all things superhero. Shop online at black-cat-comics.com. We're keeping you connected to the comic book community. I'm Mark.
I'm Francie.
And we have a fun show for you this week. Going to talk some new comics, some great stuff going on, as always, in the world of comics.
Yes.
It's an interactive program, so feel free to throw your questions, comments, queries, concerns. We want to know what you're reading, what you're liking, what you're looking forward to reading. What's at the top of the stack this week. Always like to start the program with a little comic shop news. Comic shop news. So in Black Cat Comics comic shop news, we're talking February publisher sales.
Yes.
Going on about 18 years now. Every February, we put different publishers on sale each weekend to give folks an opportunity to try something new, something fun, something exciting. So check that out at black-cat-comics.com. We'll start with Marvel, first Saturday and Sunday of February. That's always a ton of fun. As always, keep up with the newsletter every week for info and fun informational facts like that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it should be automatic. You get 25% off anything in the, let's say, Marvel collection. So if you go to our shop page, on the very top, there's 4 little boxes. There's the Marvel box, the independent press box, the small press box, and the last box should be the DC box. When you click on each one of those, it gives you the dates of when that stuff's on sale. So anything that you buy within that collection will automatically be 25% off those dates, which are going to be Saturdays and Sundays from midnight at to midnight the next day, Pacific Standard Time.
And that's always tons of fun. So take advantage of it. Pick up some back issues you might have missed. Grab that trade paperback you had your eye on.
No limits, no minimum purchases, no nothing. It's still free shipping now for orders $35 or more, or you can pick it up curbside.
So go nuts for your favorite publisher stuff. And like I say, use it as an opportunity to try something new, fun, and exciting. That's the February publisher sales. Like I say, we've been doing it for years and years. Everybody seems to like it.
Yeah.
And of course, this year, we're adapting it to the online method.
Yes. Took a little bit to figure out, but I think I figured it out.
Well, I super appreciate that. Our one-woman IT department handling the back end. Good times. And do you want to share our other comic shop news?
Almost there.
Folks have been seeing these in their bags at pickup. You've been getting them in your packages, in your shipments. It's a little card for the Black Cat Chronicles update.
Things are coming along pretty well. Sorry, cut you off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we hosted a little Zoom call a few weeks ago last week on the haunted history of Scotland, and that was really fun. To the folks that got, I think, the shadow tier and higher, the Black Cat tier, got a nice 2-hour overview of haunted Scotland. We talked about Burke and Hare, we talked about witches, we talked about plagues. It was a good time.
Saw some of the art pages come to life as you watched.
Yep.
That was super fun. Shout out to anybody that was joining us that day. That was super cool.
So the pages are coming in, and we're still shooting for have it in your hands in March.
Good times. And I guess just the last couple of things. I don't always get into the TV, the movie kind of stuff, but WandaVision. Who's watching WandaVision?
So good.
So awesome. If you don't have Disney Plus, recycle some cans and get that Disney Plus going, because other than Mandalorian and all the things, WandaVision is especially awesome. I think people that were holding out, without spoiling anything, people that might have had some issue for whatever reason, saw this week's episode and was like, "Oh, okay, that was awesome."
Bringing it together.
are key issues of Avengers Vision Scarlet Man.
Repeat the question.
Sorry. SC says, are key issues of Avengers and Vision and Scarlet Witch issues in demand now? Yes, of course. What's my hesitation? First and foremost, I would tell everybody, and I would love to show you a copy, except I've sold all the ones that I have, and I have to reorder more.
That should answer your question.
Which should answer your question. There's a trade paperback that recently came out, Vision and Scarlet Witch. It collects the 2 Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries, the original 1 through 4, and the second one, 1 through 12. Again, I don't want to say anything about anything, but if you want some tidbit to the show, that's a great trade paperback to pick up. That's a great limited series, both of those, particularly the second one. The 1 through 12 limited series is especially, I don't know, relevant, let's say, to what seems to be what's going on in the show. But to more specifically answer your question, I don't know that people are really aware of issues that relate to that. And certainly Avengers 57, the Vision's first appearance, is always one of the most key books there is. X-Men #4, the Scarlet Witch's first appearance, is obviously one of the higher end key books. To throw it out there, and I should know the answer and I don't. The Avengers Annual, where the 2 of them get married, is probably the key book most people don't know about and should be buying right now.
What year is that?
Probably 1972. I want to say it's Avengers Annual 4, 6. I don't know. One of you guys has Google and can figure that out. But their wedding issue is a great comic, and it's one everybody should have anyway. But I imagine that that's a key to pick up right now.
And I hope I'm not spoiling anything by saying I thought that it was going to be based loosely on Tom King's version of Vision, but it doesn't, at least at this point, it doesn't appear to be the case. But I could be wrong.
It doesn't. Well, I don't want to say anything without saying.
So let's just say.
But no, I would agree with that.
You don't have to read that to figure out what's going on.
So far in the show, it doesn't seem. And as I say, to be quite honest, it only barely kind of seems to relate to those other miniseries, that trade paperback that I talked about. But there are some pretty big moments in that book that are also in the show. Mm-hmm. So anyway, thanks for the question. There are lots of Avengers books and things with the Scarlet Witch that are becoming key all the time. The Lady Liberators issue, particularly number 83, is a great book to buy right now.
Keep all that stuff?
It just comes out. I don't know.
It's that big noodle?
It's probably not even the right number. I'm probably talking about 87. 83 is probably something else entirely. But the Lady Liberators issue is the second appearance of the Valkyrie, and that's a great book to buy right now.
So some other news?
Sure.
Zack Snyder's version, everybody probably knows. I'm probably the last person to know. Is going to be on HBO Max for Justice League on March 18th.
That is exciting news for us comic folks. And, kudos to HBO Max. I got to say, they're kicking out some great stuff. They're putting up some great series that we've all been waiting to see. They are doing their darndest to be as cool as Netflix and Disney Plus and whatever.
They've got Batman animated series now.
I mean,
come on. That's all you need.
Realistically, yeah, you could start that marathon and 4 years later just start it over again. That's so good stuff. So good. We're just in such a great time of entertainment for comic related material, and we have been for a long time. Mm-hmm. And that's just really super awesome.
Yes.
Which brings us to the source material, this week's books. And of course, we're a comic store, so I always like to talk about this week's comics. You pick up your books on Wednesday from black-cat-comics.com. You read them through the week. You tune in on Saturday, and we talk all about them. So why don't you start us off? What do you got for this week?
Well, first of all, this is a really good, healthy stack for just 1 week. I don't really read a ton, but lots of goodies. And all but 4 of these are Batman related in some form. This one actually is from last week, but I couldn't let a week go by without talking about it. So speaking of Batman animated series, Mask of the Phantasm is one of the best movies. We just rewatched it, and it still holds water. It's really, really good. So this kind of takes place after that, and what's behind the story of Bruce and his affair with Adrian. Is that her name?
Adrian.
Adrian? I forget her name. But really the story in here is about Joker and Catwoman. Like, I don't even remember anything else except what happens between Catwoman and the Joker. This is so good. If you are a fan of the Batman Rogue Gallery, if you're a fan of Tom King, you absolutely have to get this, buy it in triplicate. It is that darn good.
Let me say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interfere.
No, I'm done.
Can I show them the cover?
Yes.
Just to accent my point. Awesome cover. I think that's the Jim Lee one, right?
That's the Jim Lee cover, yeah.
Okay, so
good.
One of my favorite things about this title, and I hesitate to give too much away, but Joker and Catwoman appear in Batman #1 back in 1939. Their first appearances in the same book,
together.
And Batman #1 obviously shows up just shortly after Detective 27. So these two are thoroughly intertwined with Batman, with your understanding of Batman, with everybody's understanding of Batman. There's Batman and Robin, Batman and the Joker, Catwoman. It's part of it. And this book really underscores that point. One thing that a lot of the old timers and I talk about is the history that these characters would have outside of what you see in their interaction with Batman.
Yeah.
They would have times where they've hung out, times where they've fought, times where they've stolen from each other,
schemed and
plotted together against each other. All those things, they would have this huge history, and no bad guys would have more history than Catwoman and Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And this book, like I say, just really shows you and you get the feels for how long these two have known each other, loved each other, hated each other. And I find that fascinating. And he does just such a great job of capturing that in this title.
One of my favorite books of all time, single issue, is, I think it's like somewhere in the 40s, Batman 40, Tom King's run of Joker and Catwoman at the altar. Oh, so good. It's like wedding rehearsals or something. And yeah, it's just the two of them together. You can really see their characters come through more. So when they're fighting Batman, or when they're with Batman, you see the characters through the lens of the Dark Knight. When they're interacting with each other, you get a whole different flavor of who these people are, irrespective of the Batman. And I love that depth. I love that surprise. And in front of Batman, they're pulling punches. In front of each other, they pull no punches. It's just a great story.
When his characterization is excellent, his ability to build a world and then allow you to live in it at different points across the timeline. And he does that in this book, in Strange Adventures, and he does that in most of the things he writes. So that's not really a spoiler, but his ability to, like I say, build a world and then go anywhere he wants and take you along for the ride is a whole lot of fun.
So Daniel says, I love the exploration of their dynamic, the woman who loved Batman and the man who caused him so much pain. I'll preface that, I'll footnote that and say, the two people that love Batman the most.
That's Joker, a very good way to put it.
And Catwoman.
That's a very good way to put it.
And they had, I think, a jealousy and a rival for their love affair with Batman.
Yeah. And then, like I say, there's just so much to dig into there, and he sort of paints that little strokes, big strokes, and it's a lot of fun. It's one reason I've always loved Catwoman. And again, great writers and people that love these characters handle her so well in this way.
Judd Winnick's version.
Catwoman is the one villain that always wins. Catwoman wins every single time. Even in the most devastating events, Batman is always willing to drag your ass to Arkham. But
who left you at the altar?
But Catwoman, he lets her go. She escapes. She outsmarts him. She gives him the kiss, and then bails. On and on and on I could go, but I love Catwoman because Batman's always like the immovable object, unless it's Catwoman, and then he crumbles every single time, and that's amusing. And anyway, like I say, he does a great job with Batman's relationship to them, their relationship with each other. It's a really, really fun book. One of the great things that you got to give to Batman, and I go back to Gotham Central, they're talking about Gotham Central as a show and different things. Gotham Central nails this so well. You can do tons and tons of great Batman stories without Batman, and not just with his characters, but I mean like having him as an element of the story that you never see. And so like people always talking about Batman, planning about Batman. Batman is this thing in Gotham City, and you can do so many great stories about Batman that have no Batman in them, and that says a lot about the character, about the universe, and all that kind of thing.
It's a rich universe.
It is great characters, and like I say, Tom King makes the most of that for sure.
What else you got? What you got?
So this is only number 2. Pick up number 1. Pick up number 2. There's tons of great covers to choose from. Great stuff. I'm going to start. Once again, well, honestly, let's stay in the DC realm for just a second. I'll go with my future state pick of the week, which was Batman Superman, going on the vein of most of your stuff is Batman related, and this one might not be in there and yet is still Batman related. Again, speaks to the strength of the character and to both these characters. I, like a lot of people, only need that title to shell out the money.
Sold.
It is sold.
Take my money.
It's why I read Justice League as a kid. It's why I read World's Finest. It's why World's Finest, the awesome. Batman and Superman team up book forever. Batman Superman from Jeff Loeb. People love seeing these characters together for a lot of the reasons we were talking about with Batman Catwoman, because great writers play off the dichotomy of the personalities and the power structure and the villains and blah, 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 and give you a highly, highly entertaining story. And this one totally delivers in that vein. I said it in the newsletter this week. It's totally in the vein of World's Finest, Superman, Batman, all these other things, because you just got to put these two on a panel, and people want to see how these two characters react to the same situation. And it starts as a Batman story and sort of becomes a Superman story, and it starts as a Batman story where Batman needs Superman and becomes a Superman story where Superman needs Batman. That's I don't know, like I say, has made for fun comics since their first team up in World's Finest Comics in 1940.
You said it's worth the twist towards the end. Not to spoil anything, but it's worth the price is worth the twist.
There's let me find a non-spoilery page. There's some solid art. And I've been checking out all the Superman-related future state stuff, and by and large, I've really enjoyed it. Good stories, good art.
There's the Imperious Lex one this week, too.
Imperious Lex. I've not seen that one yet this week, but it's, of course, in my stack. So, anywho, like I say, anything with Superman and Batman, it's fun to see these two characters doing their thing. And this was very, very much fun, and I look forward to the next issue.
So keeping on the Batman vein and future state. So this is the cover B of Dark Detective #2, which came out this week. Like, what week is it? What day is it? Hello? I'm losing track. I like this one. So this one's kind of got a Batman Beyond flavor to it. It's kind of futuristic, which actually isn't really my cup of tea, but it's written really well and the art is great. And so I've been really digging it. It's Batman against the Magistrate, and it's Batman after. So it's Bruce Wayne after he's been kicked down and left for dead, and he comes back and he dons the cowl again and tries to figure out what's going on, who's this Magistrate guy, and how can I kick butt and take the city back. So let me give you this cool. See, that's a cool shot. Kind of a Blade Runner, Tron type feel when I'm reading it.
Bat cycles are always awesome.
I mean, come on.
Always awesome.
So yeah, I'm liking this one. And then there's a backup story, which I haven't read yet, of Red Hood, which is a little bit, it's a different art, different writer, a little bit more cartoony style. You can check that out. Oh, look at that, what that looks like. So I like the little extra stories in the back of these future states. That's been kind of fun.
That has been kind of fun. I like the Mr. Miracle one that are running through the Superman books. I miss backup stories. Backup stories are a whole lot of fun, and they're a great added bonus. Another great opportunity to check out new characters and new artists and things. Yes, Ed Brubaker does rule, as he's given the shout out to Gotham Central and I don't know, every other awesome thing that Brubaker does.
That's good.
So yeah, like I say, I've been digging some of the future state stuff. To that point, because future state's a very brief event, and I don't want to go through every single thing that they do every single week. And I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you're going to love it. Just because I hate it doesn't mean you won't think it's awesome. But there's a whole bunch of stuff, and then all this is going to be gone before you know it. So take an opportunity to try some things out. If you like that character, if it looks interesting, go ahead and check it out. Because if you don't like it, like I say, there's only one more issue or whatever to it. Anyway.
Most of them are only 2 issues. Some are very few, are like 4 issues, but most of them are 2. And a lot of the final issues are coming out this week of what we've seen so far. So
correct.
A lot of them are wrapping
up. A lot
up
of the 2 of 2s will be wrapping up.
And the Wonder Womans and such.
And they're fun, and like I say, they're only like 2 issues. Anybody having already read some future state stuff? What did you like of the future state stuff that you've read so far? What are you looking forward to?
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
All that kind of good
Wonder
stuff.
Woman, I like that one. That was thumbs up.
The Wonder Woman ones.
Sideways thumb.
Sideways thumb.
Sideways thumb. So
passable.
It's all right.
The Wonder Woman ones have sold well. The Batman ones seem, of course, to be the big hit of the whole thing.
The art for, I gotta say it though, the next Batman art, oh, that was tough to get through. This though, the Dark Detective one, that one's solid. Solid.
The art for the super books have been really good, particularly the War World one. Okay, so in other things, and I've been...
Well, and just to clarify, sorry, for those of you that are brand new that have no idea what we're talking about with future state. So DC basically put a stop on all but like 3 books come January, February. So they ended, you know, I think Batman and Wonder Woman and Justice League. So they're not doing any titles really, with a couple of exceptions, except they're doing this future state. So they're kind of ended everything from death metal and are doing kind of a 1 to 2 month hiatus with this future state. And then starting in March, hopefully, God willing, they will start their older issues again with maybe some of the flavors that we're seeing in future state. I think it depends on how well they sell. But I'm sure it's already in the printers at this point, the stuff for March. So.
Yeah, and they'll launch Infinite Frontier, and then all of your core titles will be back, like you said. The super books will get new art teams. Justice League comes back with Bendis. The Wonder Woman books, I think they're starting a new Green Lantern book. So good times.
And yeah, Marilla, so yeah, you like me. You like the Wonder Woman and the Dark Detective one too. Yeah, those were my top 2. I really like those.
Yeah, Derek and I read a lot of the same stuff, apparently.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah, like I say, there's a lot of... One thing I always put, I've probably pushed it 5 times just in this show, things like future state, things like the publisher sales. I'm always encouraging folks to try it out. Generally speaking, comics are fairly inexpensive. And so, well, some of these future state books are like $8. Okay, maybe that's not the best feed. But just to say, there's tons and tons of stuff out there. One thing to the publisher sale is that I'm always saying in the Wednesday video, when I'm going through the independent section, every publisher has a book you would like. No matter what kind of fan you are, every publisher has a book with a writer or an artist that you would think was cool. And you don't know if you don't check stuff out.
Yeah.
When the big 2 do things like future state, these are the next big guns. These are the next big hits. they're looking for intro talent, and they're giving all kinds of new people jobs. And so it's fun to check out new versions of characters. It's fun to check out new writers and new artists. And again, get turned on. So when they start doing Batman, or they start doing that other book, you are already familiar with who they are and what they do. And I don't know, it's fun. I feel anyway, and again, I'm obviously a little biased. I always say I'm the least common denominator with comics, but you're more prone to like it than not like it. I think generally speaking, if you're half interested in that character, if the cover interests you at all, you're probably gonna like the book. It's a good time for comics.
I'll speak for myself. So critical of the characters. Like, I love me Batman. I love all things Gotham. If you don't do it right, or if you, let's say, put a gun in Batman's hands, like, I'm done. Like, you gotta, there's change is good, new direction is good, but you still need to stay with the core of the characters. You cannot fundamentally change the characters in such a way that they're not recognizable anymore. And I don't think they've done, I'm not saying they've done that in Future State, but they are definitely pushing against the edges of who these characters are. So,
and the risk you run when you're trying to shake things up.
Yeah.
But that was actually an excellent segue to this guy, Amazing Spider-Man. And I've been talking about this for a few weeks. This is number 57. I know everybody picked up 55, and I'm talking about it for all the reasons you just mentioned. I don't usually read Amazing Spider-Man. I like team books and on and on. Point being, this book is everything you just said, as a lot of Marvel books are. I've got Fantastic Four just sitting here. Daredevil is kind of that book, except now it's King in Black. Avengers is that book. Amazing Spider-Man is so much fun right now because it's Peter Parker. Peter Parker doing Peter Parker's thing. He's the Peter Parker that you've known and loved. It's the Spider-Man you've known and loved. It's same old Spider-Man. You're like, cuz, why is that exciting? Because they're not changing Spider-Man. They're not doing anything to change the core of the character. They're just giving you that core character in new environments, new villains, new situations, with a little interspersing of other of the classic characters like Norman Osborn and whatever that you know and love. I find it's just a perfect mix of the character I know and love and want to see more of in situations I've never seen before. But every once in a while, again, here's Norman Osborn, here's the Kingpin, so you know that those same guys you hate, again, are in the background doing their thing. But there's also, wacky villain of the month stuff going on, like should go on in Amazing Spider-Man. It's just a ton of fun. It's the kind of thing that has made Spider-Man a ton of fun for a long time. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, well, I'll back that up just a little bit.
Is that just because we're married?
Yeah, it's the thing to do, guys. Stay smart. You need to, I say this all the time, especially with the core titles. The legacy number on this baby is 859. If you're going to do 859 of these, sometimes you got to shake it up. Sometimes you got to give him a new suit. You got to give him mutant powers. You got to put him in Mars. You got to do wacky things just to break up the rut or do whatever you got to do. But what we really want to see in the core titles is exactly what you're talking about. We want to see that character that we know and love. We want new stories and fun, cool things. And Amazing Spider-Man's giving it to you. If you loved him as a kid and you haven't read Spider-Man for a long time, it's a fun time to come back. If you have been a fan for a long time and you still are, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a cool page. All kinds of cool ninja bad guys, but they can't take Spider-Man. Anyway, I'm very excited about this book. It's really, really fun. Spencer's run has been, as good as any run of Spider-Man for a long, long time. So pick up, there's up to like volume 10 now. So pick up volume 1 and get cracking, or just dive into the latest issue. Like I say, this is what makes periodical comics, superhero comics, Fun and exciting.
And SC is saying you have to stay true to the core values and mythology of the characters. Yes,
that's true. And like I say, I've been mentioning that Marvel's doing a great job of that right now. While I'm on the roll,
I hope DC does the same. I hope
it'll catch without getting all into it, but just as an example, in the way that Spider-Man is classically Spider-Man, where he's saving New York City and his girlfriend's in trouble and Norman Osborn and ninjas, Fantastic Four is right now super classically Fantastic Four. It's this way out there science fiction thing, but at its core, it's this family drama. Reed and Sue and their kids and their friends, and they're having wacky adventures in space. And again, if you're a Fantastic Four fan, you're loving the book now as much as you have been. If you're not an FF fan, you can pick this up. And if you don't like sci-fi, if you don't like the art, whatever it is you wouldn't like that, at least you would understand why people read Fantastic Four like the Fantastic Four.
So you just reminded me of something totally off topic.
All kinds of crazy stuff going on in that shop.
Really important to mention. Who is watching Resident Alien? Oh, if you're not, you better devo that shit right now. It's just so Alan Tudyk. Is that
Did you say Devo?
TiVo?
Oh, there you go.
TiVo.
It's like, yeah, whip it.
Yeah, I'm old, so no, I didn't say Devo. So based on a comic, Resident Alien pilot came out on Wednesday on Hulu. I don't know where other streaming services have it, but it was so funny, so good. You have to watch it. It's great.
Yep, yet another comic-based form of entertainment that has to be viewed and consumed.
So along my Batman line, Batman black and white. So this is just one of the covers that we got, and I had to get the one with all the black cats because that's us. So issue number 2, they're all anthology short stories from best and brightest in the Batman universe. So like first issue had like Paul Dini story. This one's got some Tom King stuff. And Mitch Gerards, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. So it's beautiful. It's all black and white and grayscale. And the art and the storytelling is phenomenal. Out of like 5 stories, they're like all like up there, like A+. So it's great to, again, go back to the core of the characters. They've only got a couple of pages to kind of convey a story. So it's a very sharp and it's a very quick view into a day in life or a moment in Batman's life. And it's great. And I absolutely love the first issue. I just read the first story in here and it's awesome, like the first issue. So pick those up and enjoy.
I think it's worth noting, let's show that awesome Black Cat's cover again.
So good.
But the theme to the whole thing, it's neat. I love anthologies, because again, I love anything where I can check out different art styles and different writers in the same book. And then when you add the keep it to black and white elements,
it's really good. Yeah.
You get just some really great artwork, because they can't hide behind the gloss of the color. Don't
stretch out my covers too much. This is my copy.
I like seeing that used as part of the storytelling when they do things like black and white, the Wolverine, black, white, and blood. That limitation in the coloring adds to the storytelling, and that makes it even more fun.
Well, it just fits because he's a dark character, he's a dark bloke in a dark town, and it's just that depth of shadow and dichotomy of light and dark is very profound and a great use of storytelling.
Yep. Big part of why I love Stray Bullets and Sin City.
See, Fantastic Four, can't wait for them to be included in the MCU.
Very true. Everybody wants to see Jim from The Office as Reed Richards. I think there was some talk a while back. What's his name? Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
Yeah, that he didn't want to get all yoked like Thor. He didn't want to be a super buff MCU guy, so he thought he could pull off Reed Richards. So anyway, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
With the obvious exception of Chris Evans,
yes,
I'd be all right if they just brought back the other cast. What's his name as Ben Grimm was awesome. But either way, yeah, I'm excited to see them come back to the MCU. I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan.
So what are you guys reading? What's top of your stack this week? What can you not wait to dive into? What else you got?
Okay, just a couple of things to let's see. Let's go with this one. Speaking of our publisher sales, this is Dynamite from Dynamite. This is the zombie apocalypse version of the Dynamite universe.
It's got like Red Sonja. And
it's got everybody. Vampirella, Red Sonja, Deja Thoris. That's who you see on the cover there. That's kind of why I'm showing it. This is the Deja Thoris issue, and I'm a Warlord of Mars guy. All the Project Superpowers characters, on and on. Everybody from the Dynamite universe, which is kind of why I'm mentioning it, because I'm always talking up the universe, and they're cool characters. All you guys love zombies, so this is a great book to pick up issue number 1. The art and it's pretty cool. It's kind of gory, of course, because it's a zombie book. But anywho, there's some beheading shots. Oh, this one has a cat. So anywho, the art's pretty cool, and like I say, it has all the characters in the universe. Every week in the video, I'm talking up a Dynamite book like Red Sonja or Deja Thoris or a lot of the great cool things that they do. And so, again, when the independent publisher sale comes around, pick up something from Dynamite, from IDW, from Boom Studios, because they do a lot of cool things. And this is a great place to start.
I think I'm just a walking, talking ad for Tom King. I think just
this is a good week for that.
Any and all things Tom King, like I'm all over. So this is number 8 in a 12-issue run. So we're getting to the climatic bits of it. So without giving too much away, it's awesome. There was times reading this issue, which is issue 8 again, where I felt like I was reading Mr. Miracle. Tom King, being a veteran, being in the CIA, like he understands war, he's been there. And so we get more of a introspective psychological view of being a war hero and what that's like and what that does to your family in a sci-fi setting. And it's apocalyptic. It's great art. Mr. Terrific is terrific, of course. And it's a great way to get to learn more about him as a character because he seems very underutilized after reading this. I'm like, why isn't Mr. Terrific in everything? He is freaking awesome. Why don't we see him in the Justice League? Why don't we see him in Teen Titans? Why don't we see him in more Batman books? He's awesome. And so he's getting a nice, he's nicely showcased in this series. So highly recommend it. Good times.
For more Mr. Terrific, check out The Terrifics.
The Terrifics.
Which was an awesome book that ended too soon.
That was Dan Didio's run, wasn't it? Didn't you write that?
I don't know. Maybe. But that was a whole lot of fun.
Or Metal Men. I'm thinking of Metal Men.
Yeah, you're thinking of Metal Men. But oops. Yes, again, his grasp of his world building is just so much fun. And I'm really happy about Strange Adventures because Adam Strange is, like Mr. Terrific, a character that's just dramatically underutilized.
Let me show you. Let me show you some of the art. 2 artists to depict the different time periods because we go back and forth between current time and past time. So let me see if I can. Yeah, I mean this is cool. Just do that. Batman is terrific. Stupid out.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Good times. It's good stuff.
Right on.
Should I keep going? I got more.
I've got one more, but keep going.
No, you go with your last one.
All right.
What's top of your stack this week? Top of your stack.
Throw them out there, folks. What future state stuff you reading? What's your Marvel book this week? What's your independent book? Any indie fans out there? in a pennant.
In a pennant.
Because, like I say, publisher sales coming around. I want some non-Marvel DC books to talk about, like this guy, good old classic Spawn. Always a fun time to read Spawn. This is a book I always like to say, it's not going to change your mind, but if you liked Spawn, it's as good as it ever was.
I mean, the art's just incredible.
The art's awesome. There's always, again, world building. One thing I love about Spawn, and I've always loved about Spawn, this is issue 314. There aren't 9 different Spawn books. There's just the one, and he's built this whole huge universe with all of these different Spawns, and this one has them teaming up and fighting each other, and they just do it's just a ton of fun, and it's always been a ton of fun. It's superheroes, it's fantasy, it's a little bit of horror. It's really fun genre fusion. Like I say, it's not for everybody, but pick up whatever part one, like this one. You can grab the next one too. Everybody's going to grab the next one because it's another first appearance issue. But it's been really fun for a long time, at least since issue 300.
Yeah. They've really kicked it up a notch since issue 300.
Yeah, just very clearly. They got a little like what I say about Marvel. It's a great fusion of everything that has made Spawn great, but he's adding new characters, and the whole thing's always building and churning, and it's just a ton of fun. Like I say about a few things. If you used to like Spawn back in the day, let's find another cool page really quick. That's the end. Never mind.
Spoiler.
But if you used to like it, it's a great time to come back. If you ever wondered what's up with Spawn, it's a great time to jump in.
And Daniel, I got you, brother. Yes, Department of Truth, top of my stack this week too. Love this book. So creepy, so weird. I love it. Again, it's X-Files meets crazy conspiracy theories. What if all the crazy flat earthers, enough of them believed it that the earth actually did become flat? And so you're an FBI agent trying to figure out how to undo all this crazy stuff that these conspiracy theorists are manifesting into reality. So it's great. It's a great book.
That's horrifying.
It's terrifying.
Well,
it's terrifying.
And then what if you had somebody like Charles Xavier who could make millions of people believe something?
Then you're screwed. You're screwed. and the art, if you're a fan of like the Cal McDonald, Ben Templesmith art, it's very much Ben Templesmith flavor, which I like. It's kind of shadowy and sketchy and dark, and the artist is actually, we should give him credit, Martin Simmons, and of course it's written by James Tynion IV, who you all know and love from the most recent Batman run. So
even your independent books are somewhat Batman related.
I know.
But all kidding aside, that's another reason, another pitch to be trying things out, checking stuff out from other publishers, and because your favorite Marvel writer or DC writer has an image book.
Yeah.
Your favorite Marvel or DC artist has an image book.
Correct.
Or they have an IDW book. They have if you're a Cullen Bunn fan, that guy writes for every publisher ever. And who isn't a Cullen Bunn fan? Come on.
Well, and speaking, wasn't it Brubaker that just did that trade, the graphic novel last week, 2 weeks ago?
Pulp, yeah.
Pulp. So there's a whole graphic novel.
Ed Brubaker does all kinds of stuff. That's all awesome.
I think that was Image.
Yeah, it was. In fact, I have the reverse problem. Is these guys, they go to do all this independent stuff, and then I don't get to see their Captain America anymore. But that's a whole other. It's a nice problem to have, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I say, find those new writers or look around for the other stuff that your favorite creators do, because it's out there and it's fun.
Sean Murphy kicking butt, taking names with Harley Quinn, White Knight Presents. So good. Loving all that stuff. We just finished up Batman Adventures continues. 8 of 8 came out this week. So good. We've got this one wrapping up. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. We've got one more issue coming out, and then that ends the whole run. This FBI profiler Harley Quinn hunts serial killer Joker in modern day, setting. Very, very realistic, which makes it even scarier and creepier. So it's all great. And wait, my stack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really digging these too. So the other history of the DCU, and the first issue tackled the origin of Black Lightning, and this one tackles the Guardian and Bumblebee, both written by John Ridley, so Oscar nominated or winner screenplay writer guy John Ridley. It's very much prose. It's not very comic booky, meaning it's a lot of writing and then pictures that go with it.
Yeah,
but
Guardian.
it's solid, and it talks about a lot of what was going on in society. So it's got a very realistic approach to these characters. He brings in a lot of what was going on during the civil rights protest in the 60s. It's almost like you're reading a history lesson, but it's not boring. Like take my words. It's really well done, well written, great art, great story.
I just had to point out really quick.
All my Batman books.
Well, no,
Don't judge me.
It's not about that. What it's about is the great job DC does showing you all kinds of versions things, and of Batman, of Harley, of okay, so you get here's one version of the Joker Harley relationship. Yeah. Here's another totally different version, totally different universe of the Joker Harley relationship. Here's a original and classic version of the Harley that everybody fell in love with in the first place. Here's a whole bunch of hey, do whatever you want with Batman as long as it's in black and white. Here's Batman in the future. Okay, great. Here's another perfectly classic version. Here's actually a fusion of all of the above.
Yeah, it's past, present, and future.
And so, it again speaks to the strength of the character, but all this stack speaks to DC's willingness.
Careful with my stack.
To Black Label really pushes boundaries and gives us range and gives artists and creators no boundaries and all this kind of thing.
All the Black Label stuff has been stellar.
So kudos to DC for taking risks. That's a big stack of risks. You can give me the same old Batman every week, and people will love that. But giving us all kinds of different stuff is cool.
I don't know when the trade comes out. Do you know when the trade?
What issue number is that?
This is 5.
Probably 2 weeks after number 6 comes out. That's usually the deal.
End of February, maybe.
I have not ordered it that I know of. Which puts it off for a little bit. You can probably find a listing for it at imagecomics.com.
No, I don't think we have all the issues anymore, but we've got some of the issues in our online store.
I've been doing my best, but I think number 2 now is sold out. Like the no, that's not true. 3, I think, is now the one that's sold it. But yeah, but check the website or keep checking the website because there are certain things I try and keep stocked as best we can. So as we wrap it up, want to give a shout out and a thanks to everybody that tuned into Kazi's Classics last night. The last Friday of every month, we do Kazi's Classics, where we put up books like this one, Ultimate Fallout #4, the first appearance of Miles Morales, second print, and a few other cool ones. But anyway, I see some of the folks who were here today were there last night and want to thank you for showing up because that was fun. We love doing those. And you can find us here every Wednesday showing you the new comics on Facebook with the new comic video. Then you get your newsletter. You can read about what's going on in the shop, read our reviews for books of the week. When you get the newsletter, everything's live on the site. You can go to black-cat-comics.com, click on shop, click on new this week, and check out all the books that we've been talking about today.
And just a reminder, just another little pitch, we still offer those virtual shopper experiences. So it's a Zoom meeting. We take our little iPad around the store, show you what we have, answer your questions. You can do curbside pickup to grab whatever you need. So even though we're still not allowing folks in the store, you can still visually look at the store, and we can give you a private kind of concierge tour of things in the store at your leisure. So make sure you check that out on our website as well.
So there you go. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Hope you had as much fun as we had. Next
Good to hear
week,
from you guys.
we'll start in with the publisher sales and the publisher talk, and that will be a ton of fun.
Woohoo! So yeah, next weekend, Marvel, anything Marvel in that Marvel collection is 25% off, automatically taken at checkout.
Good times.
Stay safe too. Bye, guys.
You stay safe. Thanks, guys. Have fun.
Bye.